Everything we need already exists inside of us. We hold the key to open the door to discover who we are and why we exist. Conversations help us find that truth. Relationships are vital. IDKY hopes to ignite your curiosity and perhaps give you courage to open the door. Welcome back to IDKY podcast. We're in session 3 right now with Ann White, and we're going to jump into the next topic, which is her purpose. Well, we hit part of her purpose with family, but another purpose, another hat that she wears is her business, Collection. We're going to find out what that journey has been about. So, Ann, tell us how you got started.
Oh my gosh. Well, I know you talk about, again, our purpose. Of course, we've talked a lot about faith, family. Those are always the first two. Nothing goes without those two for me. And business. The funny thing is when we were talking in our episode 2, and you were talking about independence, I was raised, and not so much raised, but how I always thought of myself was I was always going to marry my high school sweetheart, Jim. We started dating at 15, and I was going to have kids, he was going to work, and I was going to stay at home with my children. That was all I ever wanted. I graduated high school. I did not go to college. That was my purpose. And isn't it funny?
You did not go to college?
I did. Oh, no.
Okay.
No. And that was where my parents were so right. They had 9 children. Think about that. Back then, the boys went to college. My oldest sister and my youngest sister went to college. Everybody else in between either paid for themselves and they finished maybe at 50 or, so very interesting because, this day and age, all of our kids are going to college, and all my 6 did go. But my mom and dad were like, you're just going to get married, Jim, and have kids. And they were right. I mean, that's what I wanted. And that's what I did. We got married at 20. And so our plan was he would work outside the home. I would take care of the kids. So I was not independent. I lived at home until I got married. And that, and then, my gosh, I remember, and this is such a great story, and I've spoken a lot about my mother, and so, if you've been following, you'll get this. On my honeymoon, because I got married, I lived at home, bedroom right next to mom and dad's bedroom, and got married, and then went to Hawaii for 2 weeks. Like, I've never been away from home, and I remember calling my mom on my honeymoon, crying. Like, I miss you. I miss home. I want to come home. And my mother, this is perfect. And I'm sure she was dying. As a mother, can you imagine having your daughter call? And she said, you hang up this phone right now and you go back to your husband. And my whole body right now is like, I remember it like it was yesterday. I was non-independent. I was very well taken care of by my mom and dad and then by my husband. So this is why it's interesting how my business then. So, that was part of it. Okay, here I go, jump in here. So again, how this business started was I had children. I had 3. Well, I started teaching exercise class, interestingly enough, right when I got married. Always was in the retail. I had a retail background at a high school. That's what I did. Worked at a retail store. Here I am. Started teaching fitness classes. Still do that. Started in network marketing in beauty with makeup. So this all will come together when you hear how, And so I did all of that in between having children. I loved having a little, as we're calling it, side gig. I do not like using that word because to me, business is business. You're professional, and when I do something, I do 100% of it, and it's not side. But in between my children, nap time, so I taught exercise class. I had a network marketing called Beauty Control, which I had my own makeup line through that. And, that was, and I wasn't in retail at that time. So as I continued, it was like my network marketing business started. I was doing makeup and skincare. And I started it with another gal. Her name was Holly Kirsch. She taught exercise class with me. That's how we met. And then we started in Beauty Control together. And we both then started having our businesses in our homes. I worked around my children. When they were napping, I'd have people come in. We do makeup. I'd do makeup on them and sell, skincare and cosmetics. And when the kids got up, so it was just kind of working around that, having something fun on the side. That grew, and it grew, and it grew. I still was at home with my children, still having more children. By that point, I had 5 children. And Holly and I decided that we wanted to we were business partners at the time, still teaching exercise class. And we decided to merge our businesses together, and we called it AH Collection, Ann and Holly, and it was skincare and cosmetics. And she had a boutique in her home, I had a boutique in mine, and we did that for 15 years. But that continued to grow, and this is what's so fun for people that might be starting a small business. I think they hear these stories, it's like, because what started out as, I'm just going to be doing a little bit of this, and have some fun. Mm-hmm. I got to do a lot of it and have a lot of fun. And it just kept growing. And what the makeup and skincare grew into in the boutique, in our homes, was a little bit of jewelry, and then a little bit of purses, and then a little bit of apparel. And boom, it kept growing. And people call them trunk shows, pop-ups. Mm-hmm. We started that 30 years ago. And, we would do it, bring other women in business together. We'd rent out the Ritz Charles. We'd bring all kinds of women, people would come shop with us. Notice I get excited. Yes. I start thinking, it just gets my heart going because it was so much fun. We loved it, and we just built it and grew it and had such a following. Simon Malls kept trying to get us to come into one of their stores. Yeah. And in the downturn in the economy in 2008, this place was born.
2008. Okay.
2008. Okay. So we've been here, 18 years.
Yeah.
And it just grew, and now we've got a huge empire of, still teach an exercise class, still love the fashion, beauty and health and wellness. Then we started in isogenics, health and wellness, about 8 years ago. And
tell us more about that.
Yeah. Well, you think about being here in this boutique. Mm-hmm. Who shops with us?
Women. Women who are looking to enhance their lives, right?
Enhance their lives.
Yeah.
They come in here. It's not about fashion. We're a ministry.
Yes,
we're
you
an
are.
absolute ministry. They come into this boutique, and they think they're coming in to shop, and they leave so much better than when they walked in. That is our mission. That is our vision. But they come in, and you think about what I've heard for 31 years. Yeah. Oh, if only I could fit in those jeans. If only I could wear that. If only I'm not feeling my best. Whatever. We're the psychiatrists, women share. They want to share because they trust and they feel, and they come in here and they feel like they belong and they're accepted and there's no judgment. And so when they do that, it was like, obviously we could help them with all the fashion and the beauty, and it's fun, but we wanted more from the internally. And God brought isogenics to us 8 years ago when both Holly and I we're aging.
Yes.
Weren't feeling our best. osteoporosis, I was diagnosed with that. I was like, okay. So things that started happening in our life, we thought it was helping us to get our health better.
Right.
We didn't realize at the time it was all about, and always is, about everybody else. So women would come in and we're like, we gotcha. We could not only help them from the outside, but from the inside.
Yeah.
What a gift.
What a gift.
That is what AH Collection is about.
Yes. And I worked for a while, we went into high schools, encouraging high school kids to figure out what they're wired to do. And I think that you demonstrated that one step at a time.
Amen.
Staying true to what made your heart beat, what got you excited, and you just kept moving. And there's a lot of people these days that they have a job because they need to make the money. And life is too short. You have to find those things that make you tick, and then those things are what's going to grow. And the money will come.
It always does.
And you will be in the arena of how much money you're going to need. Like,
abundance is always there
It is
when you're
there.
doing your passion. And I know it
abundance-
sounds easy when you say that, but that is when I'm mentoring and coaching any age.
yes.
It's if you're going at it with the idea that I'm going to make all this money, then you're not in it for the authentic, and people get that. But if you're there authentically because you're passionate about whatever, everything I've done is always about my passion. Did I start out like I shared? I was going to get married and have kids.
Yeah.
I didn't start out with the idea that I was going to have an empire.
Right.
That was the last thing I wanted. I wanted my husband to take care of me. I wasn't independent.
Yeah.
But God had a much bigger plan.
Yeah.
And I kept, like you said, kept listening, kept showing up, kept being consistent. I didn't quit because it was that passion there. Yeah, was there hard days? Heck yeah, I'm raising 6 kids. But it was that pull, it was that drive to continue to bless. That was my purpose as well. Not only with my family and my life, but the business part also was a beautiful definition of what God had planned for me. Does that make sense?
It does. Can you think of a time where you said yes? I hear you, I said yes a lot, right? Where you said yes, and the learning lesson came from it not working.
There's a lot of things that, again, you can't have a business for 31 years. And I remember, gosh, and you bring that back and it's like, oh. And as our followers are watching, and there's a lot of business owners as well, and you're going to nod your head and go, yeah, I get that. Holly and I had in this time of year, a New Year's meeting. And I think it was, gosh, probably, could have been, who knows how long. Could have been 10 years ago, could have been 15. You know how life goes, and then you're like, but we both looked at each other because our sales were declining. People that shopped with us a lot stopped shopping with us. They weren't coming in. And we had to look at ourselves with tears in our eyes, and I remember it. I know exactly where we were at. I know what I had on. Isn't that interesting? And we both looked at ourselves and said, are we relevant? Are we relevant anymore? That is like, I could cry thinking about it, and I guarantee there's people that are looking, thinking, what's going on? Now, we know right now, business is tough. Again, 2025, we know what's going on in the economy, but we've been through this now 5 times.
Yes.
That was the start of, are we relevant? And we knew that we had to change things up and rebrand.
Yeah.
Instead of just continuing on that hamster wheel, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. We changed things up.
Did you take that personally at all?
No.
Or was it business?
That was too quick.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I would say because of growth, I mean, I've been 31 years. I've been through it so many times.
It's relational. It's intertwined.
It's all.
Yeah.
But no, now, because again, in business, this is part of business. So
Right.
we got to learn from it.
Yeah.
We didn't quit.
Yeah.
We didn't quit. We weren't ready to.
Yeah.
There might be a time if somebody's watching, you're thinking, God, I'm soul searching because I'm going through that right now, but I don't know if I have the heart anymore to continue. And that's very fair. Give yourself grace on that if you feel that way. Mm-hmm. But we weren't ready.
Yeah.
And we've gone through that 3 or 4 or 5 times since.
Yeah.
And had to continue to rebrand, change things up. And here we are 31 years later. So we're doing something right.
Amen.
But that's a tough thing. So
Yeah.
that question, that gets you.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like we said yeah, because we recognized that we weren't going to continue to say yes to the same things we were doing.
Right.
Because it wasn't working.
Yeah. You had to redirect. You
We had to
pivot.
pivot.
Yep.
Boom.
Very
I
good.
love that word.
Me too.
That's a big one for
Yeah.
people. And
Keep your
it's
knees
this
back.
day and age, everything is so quick. Like
is.
I need, gratification right now. Honestly, right now in our retail world, business is tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is tough. Our sales have definitely just stayed flat.
Yeah.
And that is part of the whole Amazon. I mean, we're not
Yeah.
making excuses. We're just being,
It is what
and
it is.
Holly and I are going to have our New Year's meeting tonight. So interestingly enough, and I'll bring that conversation up. And there's a lot of soul searching we need to do. We've been doing this 31 years.
Yeah.
What
And
does God have planned?
what does God have planned? If
What
He's
does
going
God
to
have
shift
planned?
you or move you, you
Yeah.
kind of gotta well enough to
We
you
know
gotta
well
follow that
enough. So that isn't a personal thing anymore. We're
Right.
so proud of ourselves.
Yes.
We have made it.
Yes, you have.
We've done it.
Yeah.
We love it though.
Yeah.
And I want this to continue. I'm not ready.
Yeah.
So I know in my heart, my passion is still there.
Yeah.
So that's a great feeling.
Yeah.
And
It
then
is.
God will say,
God's got He
I
knows.
got something else, or this is it still.
Terrific.
Right.
Thank you, Anne.
Oh.
I'm sure that was so beneficial for anybody out there
I
that's
hope so.
doing a business. All of us, like we can all relate to that. So
Yeah.
thank you so much. That's the end of session 3. Come back next week to learn more in session 4.